Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, host Dan. I hope you're all doing well. I really do hope that, and welcome back to Chelsea news. Chelsea news video of sorts. We're going to be reflecting on Chelsea's attackers, how they've been utilised. Of course, we've continued to be linked with the likes of Federico Chiesa, a superstar playing over in Serie A for Juventus, of course. We're going to reflect on Timo Werner, most of the attackers, talk about Romelu Lukaku, the wingbacks. A lot to get into today, friends, so settle in, make sure you are comfortable. I'd urge you guys to subscribe, only if you want to, but if you choose to subscribe, make sure that all-important bell notifications icon is switched on, friends. Right, let's begin. Chelsea, of course, dropped points to Manchester United yesterday in the Premier League at Stamford Bridge in a game where they couldn't capitalise off much domination of play in the opposition's final third. Granted, ultimately the points were dropped due to a mistake, but these things do happen to every team. To every team. The top teams, you'll get, a Liverpool goalkeeper or midfielder or City doing the same every now and again. It happened to Jorginho, it looked up at the lights, it was a poor moment from him, he scored the penalty, whatever, but the larger theme of that game was Chelsea not being able to capitalise off domination in loads of elements of the game, right? Okay. There's been great fallout amongst Chelsea fans after this, people questioning both Callum Hudson-Odoi and Ziyech for different reasons, which, by the way, I thought they were both fine. I thought it was a collective, systemic failure. If there's perhaps one player you look to in that game, that performance, and perhaps start thinking of the larger picture, it's probably Timo Werner. At least Timo Werner being deployed down the middle as a striker. Of course, Chelsea Football Club bought Timo Werner originally as a striker, to play as a centre-forward to score loads of goals after he enjoyed a explosive season playing for RB Leipzig out in the Bundesliga. I think he scored like 28 league goals or something. Now, off the bat, of course, Chelsea have Lukaku. We'll talk about him in a moment as well. We'll go through the attackers. And then we can talk about Federico Chiesa. For Chelsea, we don't necessarily need, despite Thomas Tuchel actually having said in a press conference, he said, if you want to win titles, you need a striker or a player to score a lot of goals, which might be true or might be not for some people. I don't actually think it is true if you are like Chelsea and you have confidence across the pitch and it's part of a tactical, systemic game plan to get goals throughout your team across the pitch. We've seen the back line, so many of them have scored goals, midfielders are chipping in, the forwards do score every now and again. It's a tactical approach where the opposition don't know who to pick up and what to do. Now that breaks down when perhaps you don't have both your in-form goal scoring and creating wing-backs on the pitch. Of course, Ben Chilwell not being available for a while is a huge blow for Chelsea. And I don't think it's just a huge blow for that spot being vacated there on the left-hand side, because I think it does affect us more as a collective as well, especially when Marcus Alonso comes in his place, plays so poorly. And then to the point of you have to actually move Reece James over to left wing back, which obviously still isn't as good as Ben Chilwell left wing back, obviously, because he's not a left wing back. And then you lose the powers of Reece James in the right wing back position. Pulisic was fine when he came on. In fact, he's looked really good off the bench of late. But still, it causes a disharmony and disbalance and stuff. Disbalance? I don't think that's a word. Certainly a disharmony across the whole build-up play. Losing that. So I think if Ben Chilwell's fit, if Reece James is fit, I don't think you need this goal scorer to score 25 Premier League goals a season. You'd expect Romelu Lukaku to grab a lot of goals, but he doesn't necessarily need to explode. Yes, it helps, but if you look at Liverpool, you look at the top scorers in the Premier League, right? The 4 top goal scorers, I think it's, I've got it on the screen next to me, it's Salah, who of course has done amazing, Vardy, Jota and Mane. So 3 of the 4 are Liverpool players. And 2 of those 3 are going to be away at AFCON as well. So it shows you it's dangerous to be heavily reliant on certain players, which Chelsea are absolutely not in terms of goal scoring. Would be nice to have a talismanic player to score many goals though. But what I'm trying to allude to is Chelsea haven't got that and they're top of the Premier League table still. And we played difficult games. Yet, understandably, many of us aren't satisfied with what we've seen in terms of capitalising off performances, because they're not bad performances. If you can control the game, if you can have the onus and you can actually put the opposition on the back foot, you're doing well, you're starting well. But the thing is, for us Chelsea fans, we've endured this for so long. without, it paying dividends in terms of always getting the 3 points. And sometimes it feels worse to play like that and then, Newcastle go up the other end and score like last season or the season before. Do you know what I mean? It almost feels worse than like, well, we didn't just have an off day. It kind of feels like you try really hard and then you lose anyway. So you put the effort in. Do you know what I mean? But I do want to talk about the attackers. So let's talk about in relation to that game yesterday and their recent performances. I thought both Hudson-Odoi and Ziyech were fine in terms of what they've been doing in the team, in terms of developing how they've needed to both develop respectively. I see people slating Hudson-Odoi for that game yesterday when he was constantly dribbling into the box of Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He forced an excellent save from David De Gea. Yes, he probably could have squared it to Timo Werner, but confidence perhaps in Werner isn't really high at the moment. Rightly or wrongly, I think if a player's there, you should always play them in personally. When it comes to Ziyech, he's been better as well. His work off the ball is much, much better, much more high intense, pressing, hard working, defensive work. It's all there. It's certainly developing Ziyech. And still, I maintain, I do subscribe to the fact how he's that one player that makes that risky no-look pass, that disguised pass, that long diagonal, that shot, that volley. He's that kind of player that will do certain things that other players in the squad don't. He's been alright lately, and both of them were okay in that game. We had so many shots. Yes, we should have been more clinical, but in terms of their general play and what they were offering in terms of playing their role, I think they were fine. Now, so that's them. I think they can both... Hudson-Odoi should probably keep his place. I would not be frustrated if Ziyech kept his place either. The thing is, I wanted Pulisic to play that false 9 role because I wanted him to have those explosive runs into the box. I thought he was disappointing when he was given that role against Juventus, I believe. Kind of frustrated me, didn't really work out how I wanted it to. But now, seeing how Werner played yesterday, I'm willing for him to come back in. To be honest, I made a video recently about posing the question or citing Thomas Tuchel's reaction to the question, do Chelsea play better without Lukaku? I don't think so. I think at the moment, after yesterday, with the amount of shots we took, with the amount of time we played in and around Manchester United's box, in hindsight, having a Lukaku in there would have had to offer more. Surely would have had to offer more. So where does that leave us? A front three of Lukaku, Hudson-Odoi probably, and then who? Ziyech? Do you drop Ziyech? Do you bring in Christian Pulisic? A lot of people are calling for Christian Pulisic now. Although, Thomas Tuchel talked about his impact as a sub and how much he really likes him as a sub. At first, I thought that was quite unfair, and this isn't an insult. This is not a derogatory comment. Coming off the bench, he always looks so much more dangerous. Certainly under Tuchel. Under Lampard, he was like, that time after lockdown, he was like excellent, talismanic, super attacking Captain America. But when he starts, I don't know if it's a mentality thing that needs to shift to him, but even for USA, he came off the bench and looks really, really good for them against Mexico. But when he starts sometimes, he's not all there all the time, which is really frustrating. So what do you do? What do you guys do? Who would you bring in? I'm thinking Romelu Lukaku. He's apparently himself said he's ready for a while, but it's up to the coach to decide when he's sharp enough to start games. Evidently, Tuchel didn't think so against United, which is fair enough. We have to concede to the power and intelligence of Thomas Tuchel. But he surely has to look at this situation now and think, okay, well, Romelu has to start. Probably continue using Callum Hudson-Odoi. Mason Mount as well. You need that functional interchange, hard work behind the striker. I mean, Mason Mount was probably the nailed-on starter for this team for such a long time. I understand, obviously, he was out with his wisdom teeth problems, so therefore he's going to be out of fitness, out of form. But I think if he has to be sort of brought back in, and I'm really interested in getting your thoughts, feelings and opinions on the front three. Do you agree with me and think Lukaku, Hudson-Odoi and Mason Mount, or do you think Pulisic needs to get him to come in? Because remember, Pulisic might combine really well with Romelu Lukaku. He had a good relationship briefly with Olivier Giroud that worked really well in terms of finding a sort of bigger striker. See what happens there. But what happens with Timo Werner? Do you only play him out on the left now? Do you sell him? Surely a Bundesliga club would want to buy a player like Timo Werner, who was proven in terms of constant goal scoring out in Germany. Came to Chelsea, even if he hasn't been prolific, he's worked hard and won a Champions League and a Super Cup. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's still got to have he still often starts for Germany. Didn't even mention Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz. I absolutely waxed lyrical about Kai Havertz. I think he's such a talented and classy player in terms of his movement and his intelligence on the pitch. If he finds form, he's a starter in this Chelsea side. Of course he is. Like, you know, maybe it's a strike partnership between Kai Havertz and Romelu Lukaku, Chelsea's two like record signings in terms of how much they pay. That could happen. But Timo Werner, the fans adore him. He's got a song, and I'll tell you why the fans adore him, because of the effort levels, and he never stops. And that's almost a reason to want to keep Timo Werner. But what happens now? Do you only play him out wide? We've got so many wide forwards. I'm really keen on the collective Chelsea fan opinion on Timo Werner. So comment down below how you feel about him. Federico Chiesa being linked with Chelsea again. For me, I think personally we only sign him if we sell someone, and the person being linked with a move away the most has been Christian Pulisic. That would be, if Christian Pulisic can get fit, I'm starting to think he'll be more useful than Timo Werner, but the Timo Werner's injury record compared to Christian Pulisic, it's like night and day. So you can always rely on Timo Werner. Remember, you're paying them like similar wages, whatever. Like, you know, you're both paying them a lot of wages every week. One can always play, one can rarely play. You know, which one are you going to keep? And you know, they both always try hard. You're probably going to lean to keeping Timo Werner, but Pulisic's the one being linked away. It wouldn't surprise me if if Tuchel can't get a tune out of Werner for the rest of the season. He might go in the summer. Tuchel did say he deserved to start when interviewed about this game, saying he's been training really, really well, Timo Werner. So he deserved to start. I predicted he'd start purely over the false nine experiment of Pulisic not looking like it was going to work. I think forwards, we can imagine Romelu gets his place back, certainly against Watford in the midweek. Guys, let me know what you think. I really want to hear opinions on Federico Chiesa as well. He's a very direct and exciting, quite talismanic player in himself. He gets the ball, he goes for the goal. I don't think he's going to spit out incredible, insane numbers, but he can score a clutch goal, and often that's what you need in these moments. You know, all right, don't get us 20 a season, but when we're 1-1 against Manchester United, can you get us the 3 points, please? Every now and again, that kind of player. If Chelsea wants him, more importantly, if Thomas Tuchel wants him, that's where we're going to sort of start moving towards. Tuchel landed at Chelsea. He realised he's got an incredible squad with incredible talent. Now it's going to be like, okay, amazing, but can we sell these guys and do this? Because I want to start winning Premier Leagues, and I'm going to need more players to my style and my vibe. Guys, I wanted to make this video, reach out, talk about the Chiesa links, talk about Chelsea's players being linked away in this Chelsea news video, but at the same time offering you my thoughts and takes on this. I really want yours as well, so comment down below on who's your front three. Who do you think Chelsea should or will bring in? Who do you think Chelsea should or will sell and transfer away? If you've enjoyed the content, please do drop a like. It means a lot to me. Consider subscribing if you're new. Over 140,000 now, which of course is incredible. Thank you so much. To those of you who choose to subscribe, and to those of you who are already subscribed, make sure that bell notifications icon is clicked next to subscribe with all notifications turned on so you don't miss a video. Friends, that's it from me. Enjoy the football, and I'll see you later.